Hey there, friends. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret today. I just fully filmed the entire video before realizing I hadn't turned the mics on. So, if my voice is broken by the end of the video, we've already done 30 minutes straight yapping. And if I'm a little bit of a sweaty mess already, we've been out here a while. But I care. Audio quality is important. Video, you can do whatever, you know. I have nice cameras. I don't have to film on my phone. But audio, you gotta try hard. The last one was kind of rough. I didn't have the wind muff on. So, I'm not really anywhere special today. I'm just at a park. I wasn't really sure what I was gonna talk about, and it was maybe gonna rain. I'm kind of sick, honestly, too. So I wanted somewhere where I could sit down. So just a park, nice little nook. It's a beautiful vista. Maybe I'll get a shot of it from where I'm sitting right now. But it's really, I don't know if I've talked about this. I think it's really important to go out to shoot videos. I'm so sick and tired of seeing people with the like Twitch streamer set up. They got their dynamic mic. They're just in a room, and it just bad vibes. It just oozes. I'm a chronically online basement dweller. So I try to, as much as possible, I go out and I like to be places to film. And here's the thing too: if you don't feel comfortable talking about the things you want to talk about in public. And granted, I pick spaces that are a little out of the way. I don't want to be obnoxious and like around a bunch of people. But if you feel like you have to hide away inside to say what you're going to say, you've got, I would say, intellectual cowardice. Do you really even believe in your own ideas if you can't publicly say them? Today, the idea is AI Singularity. Kinda is, when I did the first recording, I said this like a billion times, so I'm not gonna throw it in that much, maybe. We'll just say it up front. This is building a lot off of the last video I made. I'm gonna reference it a lot. But the AI Singularity, if you're not aware what that is, it's a purely conceptual thing. The idea is that we will make an AI that's so advanced, it will be able to create a better version of itself. It'll be able to self-improve, and it'll be able to then improve itself even more from the better version. And so it will exponentially just increase, you know, maybe infinitely, and the AI will become a transcendent entity that's beyond our comprehension, beyond intelligent, beyond what we can conceive of, you know, a godlike being. And they really want this thing. Even though the AI guys, Sam Altman, Jensen Huang, or whoever, you know, Mr. NVIDIA, they're desperately pursuing this, even though by their own admission, it's probably low-key dangerous. So why would they be pursuing it? And pursuing it like crazy, they are, because we have dumped trillions of dollars into the AI bubble. We are building like 100 times more data centers than we think we would actually need, just because we're kind of hoping the AI Singularity is going to happen. And, you know, obviously that's like consuming huge amounts of resources. There's a bug on me. There's a huge amount of opposition to it. You know, it's putting them in everyone's bad graces. And pursue it, they still do. Every 5 minutes, it's going from beautiful to like maybe it's gonna storm. And if it storms, I'm gonna have to grab you all and jump under a tree or something. So why are they pursuing the AI singularity, even though it seems like a bad idea? Firstly, and this is the pretty obvious one, AI has not really been able to deliver. The more that time goes on, the more obvious it is it's not that useful. Maybe $1 billion product, not $1 trillion product. Maybe it'll replace Google. It's not going to replace the entire economy. So they kind of need the AI singularity to make ends meet. Another bug on me. Ugh. I think everybody kind of knows that one. And maybe you all have some other ideas for maybe reasons beyond, but two things have recently occurred to me. The first, building off of what I said in the last video, the people who rule over us, the business elites, the finance elites, it is a spider, the government powers, whatever kind of shadow oligarchy you believe in, they're all weak, timid people. They are terrified of trying to actually shape society in a new direction. And something's got to change, because we are doing horrible things to the environment. We are depleting all of our natural resources, including ones, by the way, that should be renewable. Like, you shouldn't be running out of farmland. You should just, if you're using farmland properly, it's kind of indefinite. But we're not using it properly. We're not good stewards of the earth. And so there's a kind of looming catastrophe there. Our perpetual growth economic system is at a breaking point. We've been propping it up on the AI bubble, which generates no actual real world value. And I would say even further back to any kind of tech giant that you could name today, like Meta is a great example. How many billions of dollars is Meta worth? I would look it up actually, but that's my phone. And what do? All they actually do is sell ads. That's how they make their money. Billions of dollars of just of just marketing. What is that bringing to the table for our civilization? That's not producing any real world actual value. But we've acted as if, as long as we figure out tricks and scams to bump up the big numbers, the GDP, the index funds, as long as we keep them going up, we've convinced ourselves that prosperity will follow. But that's increasingly obvious that that is not the case. And finally, they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with managing the masses. They got too greedy with the propaganda. They had the news, the movies, the friggin' music, the papers, everything. But they wanted to capture your attention just in everyday little moments. Like, you're not sitting in front of a TV, but the phone in your hand is perpetual. And so they brought about social media. But in order to create that scale of propaganda, they had to democratize it. And that's biting them in the butt. Because now, when you've got ideas that they don't like and they want to suppress, they could ban you off these platforms, and then you'll go to something they don't control, some sort of encrypted, Telegram, or God forbid for them, peer-to-peer messaging system, and then they don't know what you're saying. You could be scheming for all they know. You're talking behind their back. Or they could let you stay on the platform, say the ideas they don't want you to say, but then they risk you connecting with huge audiences and spreading the ideas that they don't like. So it's a rough time to be an elite shadow oligarch. And they're too scared to try to address these problems. Because if they fail, they could lose all of their wealth and power. They could totally turn mobs on them, potentially lose their lives. And obviously not that they would care as much about this, but they could, they could bring society into a very chaotic and worse place than it is. So they're too scared to do anything really big or radical. But the AI Singularity is an opportunity for them to shift the responsibility. See, because that's what throughout history, you wanted to be rich and powerful, that came with responsibilities. You look at the medieval feudal system. The king is going to grant you a title. You get to be a lord, you get to live in a castle, and the king has given you these lands. But he didn't give you the lands just for funsies. You got to defend the lands. You've got to farm the lands. You've got to govern the people. And you got to do it well, or he could take that away from you. But the people who have power now, they don't want that responsibility. They just want to live peacefully in their opulence with no risk. So if we have a godlike entity that can make decisions for them, by all means, let that make the decisions. It will figure out all of our problems without risking us losing our power. And I think it's funny too, because I think they would be content even if it wasn't a perfect genius, because it's that psychological safety element of, even if it were to go wrong under the AI Singularity's decision making, it's now the AI Singularity is culpable, not us. So I think that's the first big reason we're so bent on pursuing the AI Singularity, why Wall Street is funding it crazy, and governments are bending over backwards to allow them to do whatever the hell they want to build data centers. Let me double check. I just always get paranoid whether it's recording or not, especially after I buggered the microphone situation. So the second thing that's occurred to me is it's about protecting this worldview we have in our culture, and especially the upper echelons of society really subscribe to this worldview, that we are gods. Mankind is God. There's no higher being or higher authority that we are subject to. And it's really funny, the dialectic that we kind of balance of, we believe that we're God, but we also believe that we are kind of just smart monkeys. We are just another animal. And especially because you go back thousands of years, every primitive people would have told you that mankind is divine. We're the children of gods. We are divinely created in one form or another. And we're something totally separate from nature. We are a different kind of being than the beasts. No primitive person would have said we're just animals when they were living in mud huts and, didn't even have plumbing or anything. And here we are today, with nuclear power and space travel, and now we're convinced that we're just another animal. It's so funny, and it's such a pathetic worldview too, to say that we're God and we're just smart monkeys. That's the greatest being in the universe, just some smart monkeys. It's really a loser mentality. But let's look at some kind of historical context for this worldview. This kind of probably ultimately started with the Enlightenment, because we really started emphasizing the value of human intellect. That is like, you know, the most powerful, important force in our world. And then in the industrialization, that gave rise to this incredible new technology that's revolutionizing our world. And so, and then kind of basically solidified with like Darwin and his research on evolution, because now we've kind of got this confirmation that we are undergoing this process. Got some rain starting. All right, we're gonna have to run. Here, we'll finish up under a tree. How's your day going? See, if I'd gotten it right the first time, we wouldn't have gotten rained on. Alrighty. And you all are going on the tree. And we're just gonna have to hope that my framing is good. So on this camera, this is a Sony Xperia, and I love, love, love how the forward camera, even as a camera guy, generally I hate phones. I love how the what is it? I would call that the forward camera looks on this phone, but the selfie camera is ass. So I'm filming, not looking at myself right now. The phone is facing forward at me. All right, we're reset up. So Darwin, he comes with evolution, and so we say that's what's happening here. We are evolving to godhood. We are going to be continually evolving intellectually, and that's also going to bring about technologically and even morally, spiritually. And so we're going to become gods, and basically that means we are gods already. So that's kind of where this idea comes from. And really, really big in the 20th century, early 20th century, you know, the Übermensch and all that. And now we're 100 years removed from that. And about 100 years, maybe less in some cases. And that idea has really kind of collapsed over the past years, because we have, thunder sounded really weird. Technological development has basically stalled, which is, a lot of people believe the opposite, that technology has been developing faster and faster and faster and faster. But it's just not the case. It feels that way because technology development has been increasingly consumer focused. It feels that way because they have a new iPhone every year with new features that are not really substantive technological developments. And if you don't believe this, let's take a look at the 19-teens to the 1940s. The beginning of World War I, we were still using horses in war. To the end of World War II, we have nuclear bombs. That's a period of less than 40 years. We went from horses to nuclear bombs. Our past 40 years of technology development does not compare, not even close. You could look at, they have these old interviews with people who, they're from probably like the 60s, with people who are 80 and 90 back then, about how things have changed in their life. And they stand there in the interview like deer in the headlights. They say, I came here on a train and it took 2 hours. As a boy, that took 2 days. Like, they cannot comprehend the world that came about during their life. They live in a magical fantasy world. Compare that to elderly people today. It's not like that at all. We've not undergone that level of change. You know, Laura Ingalls Wilder, the bugs continually are landing on me. Laura Ingalls Wilder, who wrote the Little House on the Prairie books, she literally grew up as a pioneer on the American frontier, you know, worried about getting scalped by Indians. And as an older woman, flew across the ocean on a commercial airliner. That is what rapid technology development looks like. Old people today, you know, they might be like, oh, back in my day, you know, we had to adjust the antenna on our TV to get what we wanted. And nowadays you have to download an app on your TV. Christ have mercy. That was really close. All right, we ball. We're kind of like on top of a hill, which is why I'm a little concerned. Anyhow, as I was saying, I have forgotten what I was saying. Yeah, so, but they can't really be bothered to do that. They say, I don't want to learn how to download an app on my TV. All right, we're gonna walk down the hill. We got a spider on the camera. I'm getting too nervous. I'm being weak and timid. But I don't want to just get hit by lightning. I'll keep talking while we walk. I might end up, it'll be really funny, I might end up using that first version I recorded anyways. Although, you know what? I would just have to straight walk through the rain for a while, and this gear is not exactly suited for that. So you know what, we're just gonna keep going. I changed my mind. Okay, we're getting there anyways, we're almost done. If I can get this freaking camera to be secured. Okay, excellent. Oh man, we're so sidetracked. I'm probably gonna have to, I don't like to cut stuff out, but I may have to. Right, so we're not evolving technologically. We're not evolving intellectually. You can look at any kind of academic standards to know that. And morally, come on, that's a joke, right? That's the funniest one, that we thought we were going to overcome human nature. Like, especially a great example is with nah, we're running. We're running down the hill. All right, we're back. This is what this is, like I was saying at the beginning, this is part of filming in an actual location. You know, it's a little bit of an adventure, right? I fully expect one of these days somebody's gonna be walking by and hear what I'm saying, and they're going to have something to say, I'm sure. Okay, we're calling that good. All right, let's freaking wrap this up, brother. I gotta get home. It's dinner time. My wife has probably got dinner ready. Okay, gotta focus. Yeah, so a great example of moral evolution not happening is the sexual revolution. It's insane. If you go back and read stuff that was being written by the people who were kind of pushing the sexual revolution about what they thought it was gonna do. And that's something nowadays, that's like, even for people who claim to be like conservative or traditional, a lot of the fruits of the sexual revolution are still sacred cows to those people. Like, do you think conservatives are ever going to try to abolish divorce? Well, I'd love to see that. That's not happening. Anybody who can even remember a time before sexual revolution has been locked away in nursing homes. It's 80 years old. But the things that those people wrote at that time to push for this stuff was, the promises were that this would bring about a utopian society. We would eliminate poverty because poor people would abort all their kids. We would eliminate crime and certainly sexual violence because now with, porn and free sex, we're not repressed anymore according to Freudian ideas. And so we'll have a peaceful utopian society. And that's clearly been bunk. Now we know about look up adverse childhood experiences and what qualifies as that and what that means. Because it's actually wild. You want to get a divorce? Okay, your kid's gonna die younger. Like literally, it's one of the most researched phenomena in the field of psychology. That, all these things that constitute trauma that your family can create for you. So we're not evolving morally. We haven't done any of these kind of evolutions towards godhood. And the final nail in the coffin is internet atheism over the past couple decades. Internet atheists have destroyed the credibility of that kind of worldview entirely because we see the fruits of it. We see that if you believe there's no greater power, you just become this, slob loser. Like you're somebody just totally controlled by your lowest instincts, right? You're the neckbeard, 400-pound, fedora-wearing atheist. Holy crap. Ugh. All right, we're gonna wrap up. we're not gonna go to our car to finish. We're gonna wrap up. We ball. And so this worldview is in tatters that we are gods. The elites, because it's so important to them, that's part of how they justify their level of opulence and their position in society, is that they are the ones who are pushing technology and progress, and they are ushering in our godhood. And so they're sitting there clutching it like it's a broken vase. And the AI Singularity is this guy standing nearby with scotch tape, and they're like, oh, give me that. I can fix it. I can fix it. Because even if we're not gods, clearly, well, what's the next best thing? That we create God. That we, give rise to God. And so it's an existential, it's an existential pursuit for them to achieve AGI. Not AGI, the AI Singularity. Similar. And so that's part of the level of desperation we're seeing. And that's also why it's part of the level of desperation we're seeing. And that's also why it's not also anything. I'm totally losing myself. I'm sopping wet and it's really distracting me. I'm kind of worried about my equipment because I think some of this is not water. The mics I don't think are supposed to be getting wet. But, and the conclusion I'm coming to with all of this is that everything is a spiritual battle. Like, these people want some sort of omniscient advisor. You've got it. How about you do a little this, brother? How about you seek counsel with the Lord? All right? So, people kind of talk about billionaire elites as if we've just got to get so angry at them. We've just got to hate them more, and we can fight them. Which, to me, that's so funny. It's like, I'm gonna have a power battle, and guess who I'm gonna choose as my opponent? The powerful. You're not gonna beat them at their own game, right? The only solution to all of the problems we have is a conversion to Christ. So thorough through our society that it reaches those upper echelons as much as they try to cut themselves off from the ordinary people. That's what we have to be pushing. And that's kind of overall, that's sort of, if there's a unifying theme that I plan for this channel, it is basically about the restoration of Christendom and things adjacent to that. So that's my video that I've chosen to film outside in spite of the consequences. Please pray for my mics, that they are not fucked up. And again, my intention is to just share realizations that I have, and here's some conversation. So please let me know what your thoughts on the topics are, and yeah, here's to a next video being dry.